This podcast is brought to you by Literature and Lingerie and by Casa de la Zesa.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Your Broadway World podcast. Today we have Kenady and Kaylee with us to discuss their new off-Broadway musical. And remind me of the name. It's called Beyond Perfection, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Okay. So let's welcome them in. Hi, guys.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for reaching out to me. I've been meaning to reach out to you guys, but then things kept happening and I keep forgetting. Then I couldn't, and it's yeah.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
So let's just start off. What is Beyond Perfection about?
Can I take this one? We'll take turns. Beyond Perfection is a sci-fi dystopian musical. It's zany, it's campy, it's kind of like if you're a fan of Be More Chill meets You're in Town, and it has a lot of heart. So it's about a dystopian New York City controlled by Megacorp Perfection LLC that does a VR experience for everyone, having their own perfect world. It's AI powered. And our hero, Ryan, finds himself in an AI-matched marriage, this perfect life promised to him, and he starts to notice kind of cracks in the system. He stumbles into Central Park, where a rebellion is headquartered in Central Park because the nature kind of interferes with the tech in Central Park. So he joins the rebellion. They're called the No-See-Ums, and that's where our adventure begins. All sorts of hijinks. And, classic dystopian tragedy happens. So it's both fun and heartfelt.
It does sound really, really fun.
Thank you.
I also love dystopian kind of things, like even the books or just plays, and I think it has to stem from my love from Stranger Things, because that feels a little dystopian to me.
I love Stranger Things, so sci-fi dystopian. If you're a fan of Severance, I love Severance. What other dystopian TV? Those are the main ones that are kind of in my zeitgeist right now. And books.
There's The Good Place.
Oh yeah, I love
The Good Place. I didn't even think about that.
Yes, one of our friends is writing a Good Place musical. You should reach out to her next.
After this, please send me that contact information, because I will definitely want to do that. So then I would like to start with the origin story. How did you two how did the two of you come together as collaborators, and what sparked the idea for Beyond Perfection?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Kenady, and I started, no secret, big fan of dystopia here, big fan. Grew up, reading all the dystopian TYA novels that exist. I loved being enveloped in the writer's world and trying to figure out, okay, this was a utopia that became a dystopia, and why is it, and what are they trying to say, and what's this world? And I just kept reading them and reading them and reading them. And so when the time came that I wanted to write a musical, I was like, could I write a dystopian musical? That would be so much fun. And I was sitting in Central Park, in New York, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And the juxtaposition of the city contrasted with this beautiful nature, I thought, well, what if we had this hyper real world, high tech, contrasted with this natural world, and what would that
Mhm.
be like? And so that, kept getting built and built and built and built. And in 2019, Kaylee actually performed in one of the very previous iterations of Beyond Perfection as the main character, Chandler. And so we met through that, and then our world kind of became dystopian when 2020 happened. And I kid you not, the opening lyric of the whole musical in 2019 was 2020, 2020.
Yeah. And it was
Yeah.
supposed to be 2020 vision. It was about like the VR. And we were like,
Mhm.
well, 2020 means something else now. So we can't, that's going to trigger people.
Yes. So I reached out to Kaylee and we hit the ground running and rewrote the whole entire thing. At this point, probably like five more times, but
Mhm.
we've been working together ever since, and it's been great. I sometimes think I cannot believe that Kaylee stumbled into audition, did not know me from Adam, performed in my show, and now we're like friends and collaborators, and it's
Mhm.
it's wonderful. So.
As you, I think you both touch on it, takes place in a tech heavy dystopian version of New York. What drew you to that setting and those themes of control, perfection, and rebellion?
Oh man, Kennedy might have a different answer than me. I don't know. When I think of New York, and especially musical theater, like big Broadway, New York, it's so American. Like Times Square, you walk around, it's just overstimulating and commercials and flashing lights and look at me, look at me, look at me and give us money. And Broadway is art, right? It's amazing. It's a big
Mhm.
spectacle. It takes so much time and effort and money and love to put up a Broadway show, but at the end
Mhm.
of the day, like it's also a business. And so it's like this idea of art and business and commercialism is really interesting to me. And just the spectacle of Broadway. And so kind of all of that is really baked into the show. Um, and I think it's not necessarily a political piece, but it does say a lot about what it feels like to be a person on the internet and just the attention economy that we live in.
And then, like I said, I am a huge. I don't even know if I said this, but like I'm a huge Broadway fan. So like just it being set in New York is just like my biggest like love for this because like obviously theater, theater.
Yes, and we are too. We love theater, and there's a song in there, Breaking Up with Broadway, that originally was kind of a personal thing about like I used to be an actress and I wasn't getting roles because like, there's like only one female role in the whole show, and so I wasn't getting roles. And so it started out of like motivation of like the frustration of an actress, and I just like, forget it, I'm gonna break up with Broadway. And it
Mhm.
evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved. And now it's Chandler like literally breaking up with Perfection LLC, who produces
Mhm.
the Broadway. But because this number is AI generated, it references all of these previous Broadway musicals. And
Mhm.
even the choreography, which I'm so excited, Victoria Casillo and her dance arranger Drew Nichols have written this wonderful, like just wonderful dance break that they call Aiden. Aiden's our AI, and says generate dance break. And they did a dance break that calls back to like famous dances of all time. So like there's little hints of chorus line and a little hint of Step in Time from Mary Poppins. And so I'm very excited to see that as far as the collaboration goes. But all of that's kind of like the love letter to
Mhm.
Broadway, the art of Broadway, and how wonderful it is.
Mhm.
But it also speaks to how AI is kind of
Creeping
butting
into
heads
art.
with art.
Yeah.
So there's that tension there. I will say that we had an AI character in our show in 2022. So we kind of were ahead of our time here, but we've kind of capitalized on this timely nature of what AI is doing to art. And so that is definitely a feature in our environment, though it's not the only feature in our sci-fi world.
So how do you t how do you t typically work together when creating a new show? Do you start with lyrics, story, music, or does it all evolve t together?
That's a great question. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I had to adjust a knob. So because I came onto this project, I was first an actor, so I performed in a full-length written, thing that Kennedy was developing. And I came on, and when we started the rewriting process, we had all this material. So it was really a lot of playwrights and writers talk about selection as like a big element of book writing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really like it almost felt like I was an editor in some ways, like because I was selecting, like, oh, we're gonna keep this, or we're gonna move this, or we're gonna add this together, or move this song here, or adjust this. So I kind of came on more in that regard at the beginning, but then as we started really developing the piece, we wrote new things together. Sometimes I would write like an unrhyming jumble of, you know, I think a song is in here. And Kennedy looks at it and she's like, I'll take that and make it rhyme. And I'll take this and make this rhyme. And I'll put, and it's, make it pretty. And then she writes a beautiful melody. And then we give it to Emily. And we have had like couple writing retreats where we have a sleepover and sit by the piano and Emily plays and Kennedy sings and jumps around and finds melodies. And I'm just there going, yay! My joke, my joke. Um, or going, the grammar's weird. Fix the grammar, you know. So, I hope that's. But yeah, it really we've done it in every way. I wrote like a play version for this
Mm-hmm.
festival as like an exercise to help us find really fine tune the plot. So we cut all the songs, I wrote a play, gave it to Kennedy, and she found where it sings. And it was surprising how many of the songs stayed and fit so well into the play version. So testament to our collaboration. It's been really, really, I think, rewarding now that we're here.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Because sometimes it's stressful to just sit with you and your computer and be like, does this stink? It's just me and my computer. So,
Well, and I think that's the beauty of musicals and that it's so collaborative. Not that plays aren't, definitely once they're on their feet, but the beauty of a musical, and that's what I love. I love collaborating.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like over the years that Kaylee and I worked together, I mean, I'm so lucky that she stumbled into an audition room and took a chance on a stranger, and then all of a sudden now we're friends and collaborators. But it is so fun and so cool. Like with each collaborator that I work with, you kind of like find their voice too, and like your voice and their voice start to merge, and you're going, "Oh, I think Kaylee will like this line," or I think Kaylee was gonna think this lyric's funny or whatever. Or like there's things I've done that I'm like, I feel like I'm writing in Kaylee's voice. Like I'm channeling Kaylee as I'm
yeah,
writing this scene.
sometimes
And
I'm like, did I write that? No, you wrote that. That's cool. Like, it's just so neat how we've like merged. It's truly a
Mm-hmm.
little marriage. We are partners um
yes.
in this musical.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Wholesome Monday. Poetry Thursday. Wholesome Monday. Poetry Thursday. Welcome to literature. Sorry, wow. Say that 3 times 5. 3 times 5. 3 times 5. Fuck. My YouTube channel to accompany my Patreon. That sounds like I made my Patreon and then made my YouTube channel. Nix that. Okay, I'm gonna start over. Welcome to Literature and Lingerie. where we will mostly on YouTube be getting up to a lot of literature. Hit that subscribe button, and I think they say you should hit the bell, right? So that you're notified. No. I probably should have vetted that. I mean, it was 1888, so what do I expect? Edgar, what the? God, this strap.
And I think too, it has something to do with like you guys been working together for so long on this and everything. Like it just organically kind of just like meshed.
Yeah. And something too, I feel like her and I think very differently. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
not very similar people, but we have similar hearts um and love for the art. And so sometimes, I get kind of abstract and obtuse and I have to explain myself and I, can't to Kennedy and she's like, that doesn't make sense. Or that's not gonna read. And I'm like, thank you for the realism. Like we really like sharpen each other and
Yeah,
um
yeah.
and
Yeah, because we think
elevate
differently.
each other. Yeah.
And I feel like hopefully that translates to audience members who think differently.
Mhm.
Like just in the way we process information. I'm very linear. I like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And Kaylee's like this over here and this over here and this over here and this over here. And there's like a beauty in that, and there's a beauty in order. And so I can take her thoughts and order them, or sometimes she can scatter mine. And there's a beauty in like how art gets created that way.
Mhm.
And so I think we help each other out too, as we create.
And you and I've done research too, and you've done early workshops in Texas, correct? So from early workshops in Texas to now taking it to the stage off Broadway, what has the journey been like for this show?
I'll let Kennedy answer that because she's been in
Oh,
it from the beginning.
it has definitely been a journey. I feel like we, as writers, have our own coming of age story to go along with how this musical has kind of come of age. We've learned a lot. This is the very first musical that I started writing. I felt like uh, everything was telling me I need to write this musical. Like I felt like this is what I need to do. I had gotten some money from the Texas Business Hall of Fame from for a pitch that I did. And I was like, all right, I need to write this musical. And so I was motivated and I grabbed a bunch of collaborators. But a lot of that stemmed from a belief that like musical writing was a little bit unattainable to me. Like I needed help to write the
Mm-hmm.
musical. Like it's just too big. I'm just a songwriter. I'm not a composer. And so I entered into just different things and different collaborations. And I finally got to the point where Kaylee met, where I had written the whole show. Yes, some songs were written by some of my people in collaboration at my college, Dallas Baptist University. But I got to that part of the process and I was like, okay, now I believe that I can do this on my own, but I don't want to. Like, I want to
Mm-hmm.
welcome other voices. And ultimately, what got us to this point was the acceptance of like, I can do the best that I can, but that's only so-so or sometimes great, but it's the best that I can do. But if I have
Mm-hmm.
other people along the journey and they do what the best that they can do and they can do the best that they can do and I can build a team around me that have different skills, then the show will ultimately be better. And so, is it more important to me that I get to keep this beautiful song that I love, or is it more important to me that the story gets shared and told? And so, it's always been that this story was important to tell. This was something I was supposed to do. I felt called to do, and so I have to do it. How can I get it there? And so it was just this beautiful journey of welcoming other people along the way. Rachel Klein, our director, not our current director, but a director from New York City came down to Texas to do a workshop, and she elevated our work so infinitely much. She really helped us clarify the world and structure that as well. Um, then musicalwriters.com, it's actually founded in Texas, and they did a workshop of our piece as well, our stage reading. And that really helped take from this like original idea. It was kind of the bridge to this new world that we have. And then over the past few years, we've been getting a lot of advice in different things. And the Broadway Bound Theater Festival, Lenore, who owns it, is a playwright and a dramaturg. Um, Her heart is really that the show is the best that it can be, which was mutual to our hearts. And so she spent so generous. She spent like a month with us working on the show. And I feel like when you get a good dramaturg, it's like half script doctoring and then half like writer counseling. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I felt like she was like, no, the story is in here somewhere. You just have to chip away. She said she refurbishes furniture. And she's like, there's so many voices and so many paint on this. You just need to strip back and like, where's the real wood of this furniture piece or of this show? And that was just such a good metaphor for us because after like the show was elevated, but in the years between our workshop in 2022, we'd just been fiddling and fiddling and fiddling and fiddling and fiddling. And it really had lost the heart of the show. It was kind of overwritten, if you will. And so it was really helpful in our dramaturgy slash writer counseling session to go, okay, no, like we can do this. Like, what's the story we want to tell? And let's get back to that. And so that being said, I'm very proud of the work that we've done over the last few months, and I'm so excited to see it on the stage and like to see the story that we wanted to tell this whole time.
With the example that you had said, like it's also kind of like there's also that saying of like you have to break a few eggs or in order to get it right. And I
Mm,
think that's a good analogy too to use with
that's true.
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely broken some eggs, let me tell
I've thrown a couple too.
you. But what I love about Kaylee is that she's not afraid to like go there, you know? And so that's like the best thing in a partner is like, okay, let's try this wacky version. And we go there and they were like, oh, no, 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 go back.
Yeah.
So we've been down a lot of zany paths with this, but it's been a journey. And I think it's truly strengthened us as writers, but also as
Mhm.
a team.
Yeah. Um, so then that just leads me into my next question. It was like, what surprised you most throughout the process of developing Beyond Perfection? Are there any moments that like shifted your vision?
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So, like, when I first started writing, and this was like what I was supposed to do, I was like, okay, I'm gonna write it and it's gonna be on Broadway like tomorrow and it's gonna be great.
Hmm.
And,
Simple.
and yeah, simple. You just do it.
I feel like that's what every playwright thinks at first.
Yeah. And I even had friends, they're like, yeah, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, it took him like 10 years to do Hamilton. And I was like,
Hmm.
nah, like I got this in 5, okay? I'm gonna do
You could ask him if you
yeah,
wanted
true,
to,
like
and he'll say that.
10 years later, still not on Broadway.
yeah, I didn't know how long it took. I'm kind of glad I didn't because maybe I wouldn't have started. Um,
Hmm.
but like ultimately, like I said, I wanted the best show, and if it takes, this is 8 years, if it takes 10, if it takes whatever to get the best show up, that's what I want to do. And um, so we're really excited because I do feel like this is the best version yet, and we're very proud of it. So I'm excited to finally get there. But yes, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but it was a surprise to me. I don't know, Kaylee, what was the most surprising thing?
I think for this show particularly, it's a surprise to me that you started with a dystopian musical because that's like, I feel like notoriously extremely difficult to write. Um, like there aren't many, and even the ones that exist are more niche. Like You're in Town is popular, but it's like, you got a taste for it, like Be More Chill did not succeed until people got an
Mhm.
audience for it. It kind of was an undercover one. And this is a super deep cut. Starmites won some Tonys, and no one knows what it is. A lot of high schools do it. It's a sci-fi, like space fantasy musical. It's amazing. Female lead, love Starmites. I'll always ride for Starmites. But like they're all these like deep cut, like kind of under the radar these sci-fi dystopian musicals. So it's just
Mhm.
crazy to me that that's what you started with. And she kind of started there and we, tabled it because we were like, this is really challenging. An original story, a genre piece. The world is just ballooning and changing and getting more dystopian by the day. How do we make this a timeless piece and it just doesn't need to be rewritten every 2 years because technology is so freaky?
Mhm.
And so we did like think about just saying, all right, well, we'll table it. And we wrote a little 10-minute musical, a couple of them together, and one of them got into an off-Broadway 10-minute musical festival. And it was kind of sci-fi horror. It was an adaptation of a Nathaniel Hawthorne Frankenstein-y short story
Mhm.
called The Birthmark. And we put that into a festival, and that kind of to me was like we can do this. Like we can
Mhm.
tell stories the way we want with the tone we want. I feel like that show had exactly the tone that kind of bridged us to find this show's voice again. Because it's um yeah, like earnestly funny and disturbing. It's kind of what we're going for, and not just camp, but something with heart, but also entertaining. Um, and potentially, slightly disturbing or horrifying if you think about it too hard. But don't think about
Mhm.
it too hard.
But I mean, okay, to be fair though, Stranger Things is like that play is on Broadway. So that's
Yeah,
also a
that's true.
dystopian. So to say
And
it's not been done before, it's like,
yeah, no, it is, and it's getting, I feel like we are at the right place in time
yeah,
for the show. Like maybe Happy
yeah.
Ending has these amazing robot characters.
Mm,
We've got Stranger Things. We have all sorts of fun stuff.
mm,
A lot of like these kind of campy like Stranger Sings and Be More Chill and all these kind of freak Bob shows that I'm sorry. But yes, that are just fun and I think there's a market for
mm,
us. And like 5 million billion people in the world have smartphones. And so I think if you've ever touched a smartphone, you'll relate to our show. So
mm.
it's a pretty big market, I'd say.
I know speaking of all that, tomorrow and my editor Jake can, you know, uh cut this out or if you're hearing it then I guess you're hearing it. Tomorrow I have an interview um with the producer for Baby Happy Ending,
Amazing.
but who also produced the Great Gatsby musical.
Cool. We saw
Yeah. Yeah. I want to see it so bad. I want to see both of them so bad.
it. It's beautiful.
Speaking of that, though, real quick before we get back on track,
Yes.
the performance of the Tonys, Baby Happy Ending performance. What do y'all think? 'Cause I cried my eyes out.
It was so cute. I've been wanting to listen to the cast recording, but we're going to be in New York and I'm going to see it. It just
Hmm.
looks amazing. But I was like, I think I just want to go in blind. Like it looks so delightful. I'm kind of holding off on getting too spoiled because I just want to experience it. And then I'll be nerdy and listen to it all the time. But
Yeah.
I'm so excited to just sit and see such a cool story. I'm so happy there's an original story like that in the world. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I was not expecting a song about freaking Firefly to like make me bawl my eyes out. Like you guys suck.
In a great way. Are you going to tell the producer that? You made me cry.
I should tell her that. Okay, so these are questions for Kaylee, actually.
Oh.
Um, Kaylee, you've got a really unique mix of experiences from theater studies to medical clowning. How did those different parts of your background influence the way you approach storytelling?
Oh, that's a really great question. You ask great questions. I love that you're such a great podcaster. Like
Got them all written
I'm not
down.
and I'm not just saying that to blow smoke, like you're amazing. So yes, so all my theatrical experiences, I went to school thinking musical theater. Like I'm just gonna get a musical theater
Mm,
BFA, and that's going to be my life. I went to a community college with a really like souped up musical theater program to get my associates, and I probably took like 50 hours of musical theater classes, like
mm,
in my freshman, sophomore year, or theater, performance, acting, whatever. And then I got my went transferred over to my undergrad at UT Arlington and I took a clown class.
mm,
Loved it. Some mask, loved that. So freaky. And then I took a lot of technical classes and playwriting and I started realizing I think I would really love to teach and direct and deep dive into some of this playwriting stuff. I realized I don't really love dancing.
mm,
And I was at such a low level. I was like, I don't
mm,
think I want to ascend this dance ladder to do what I want to do in musical theater. And I was like, what are my other avenues?
mm,
I could park and bark and just do sing only musicals, no dance. Or I could look at what else I enjoy. So I went
mm,
into children's theater, directing a lot of children's youth theater. And I think, and then getting into clowning, medical clowning, which I love. It's my favorite performance gig. I perform like 2 to 3 times a week at the hospital in hospital rooms. So it's like a tailored improvisational bringing the circus to the hospital room. And it's rooted in therapeutic practice.
mm,
I could talk about it forever and I won't because I know we have probably a time limit, but the Laughter League, if you want to
mm,
check that out, I'll plug them. But it's really, really cool and all about empowering the person that we're working with. So, through
mm,
comedy and through laughter and joy. And so it's really cool. But that definitely, children's theater and clowning informs the kind of the comedy writing. Um, and like, that's a sad, situation. I've had a lot of bad experiences in my personal life in the hospital, losing family members or, an emergency happens and you're at it's just not a fun place. And so to go and like redeem those experiences as a clown, is actually really cool. And clowns are pretty awesome. I think clowns like bring world peace, honestly. So if we just had more clowns, I think we'd have a lot more joy in the world. So
That being said, also the nicer clowns, not the Pennywise clowns, please.
very bad for business. We don't claim him or any of the evil ones. No. Well, he's not even a real clown. He's an alien.
Is he?
Yeah.
I never really thought
I'm
about
in the lore.
anything.
I'm in the lore. He's an alien. He shapeshifts.
I've never
So
really thought about that.
yeah, he's not even. I don't claim him.
Just went right over my head.
I do know Ronald McDonald. Shout out. I know you. I like have met him. He's cool. He's my friend. Anyway.
He scared me as a kid, not gonna lie. He terrified me as a kid.
But he has French fries, so we forgive him.
A clown with food. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, he makes good burgers. All right. That's me. That's
All right. Also, I was gonna say this earlier, but like reminds me kind of about it kind of reminds me of Robin Williams, Patch Adams.
yes, yes, that's like
Definitely.
exactly. Yeah. And Patch Adams was a real guy. I have never met him. He's a little older now, but I have
Mm,
some colleagues that have met him. He's a very interesting fella. But that's a really good movie.
mm.
That movie, good for business. It, bad for business. Patch Adams, good for
Good
business.
for business. Oh, I should have warned you this was gonna get off the rails sometimes.
I'm so sorry. I could talk about that forever. I love clowning.
It's mostly my fault. All of my interviews get off the rails sometimes. I don't know why. It just happens. I guess it's organic that way, but still.
Yes.
Okay, so to get back to it, you've written several plays and projects that center on transformation and identity, correct?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So where do you see those themes coming through most clearly in Beyond Perfection?
Transformation and identity. Man, deeply. I think that we often identify with things that don't matter. Like you got to find your identity like in deep things or else your sense of identity can get shattered if you lose
Mm-hmm.
that thing. Um and I think in Beyond Perfection people are forming their identities however they want. Our character Kate, who's married to the hero Ryan, she forms her identity on I'm famous, I'm in love, I'm gonna have like a perfect domestic family life, I'm gonna be a trad wife influencer. Like she's just and all of that gets shattered because she just kind of snaps it into existence with this virtual reality. And she actually doesn't have feet to stand on in the real world. When she goes to the park, she's like, oh, it's all a fraud. And so she actually tries to hold on to that throughout the story. um she has that delusion of I'm gonna make this I'm gonna build my own reality, my own identity, even if it's without any work or any real effort. So that's one of the themes for sure in our show.
And then my final question for you. Well, I have two questions actually. First and foremost, explain Dr. Hashtag.
Dr. Hashtag is my clown character name and it's just Slay. So I that's my TikTok handle. Really I I used it because I wanted that anonymity of I just want to post my stupid TikToks and no one bother me. But now I'm on TikTok in a different way. So yeah, Dr. Hashtag's just my, you know, my avatar name or whatever. But it's
Because
also my clown name. I thought it was funny because I just love the idea of a clown trying to be on the internet. Like I just think about like probably my clown character didn't go to school and just Google stuff. Like any new thing that she experiences, she just Googles it. She's like, "Oh, I know it now." Which that's kind of our life. So maybe that's
yeah.
too real, but
Yeah, because I was looking that up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna ask her about that definitely because I'm like, what? I was like, excuse me.
that's me, Dr. Hashtag. I also
Okay.
have Dr. Howdy too. That's my cowboy clown. So both start with H. It's two
I
two
love
two
this
clowns.
so much. I love that so much. Uh, so then my other question is, do you find that your work as a performer, especially as Dr. Hashtag, gives you a different perspective when writing characters and dialogue?
That's a really good question. I think it definitely informs. I'm always looking where's the clown spirit in the show. We have two characters, Jerry and Darla, who are kind of the rebellion leaders, and they're the only rebels that you meet because it's a small cast and we can't afford too many actors. Um,
Mm,
there will be probably more rebels, you know, if we expand the show. But in this festival, they're the only rebels you meet
mm,
in the rebel leaders, and they're very inspired by, in my heart, like the Shakespearean fool jester
mm,
characters, um, which are always the smartest characters in the Shakespearean plays.
mm,
So they're always the goofiest and they get beaten by the king, you know, like not defeated, but like literally like with the club, like you club the jester. But they also are able to speak to the king in ways that no one else could because I'm a jester, you know? So
Mhm.
I love the role of the clown in theater, and I'm always looking for like where is the hidden wise character in the play, that like the unseen wise wisdom
Mhm.
character. So I love that archetype, I guess.
Mhm.
CDZ Collegia Musica is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. It is a kind of school of music, a concert series, and an agency that promotes the musicians, dedicated artists, and educators who we feature as our performers. The goal of the Collegium is to bring community together through music performance. These performances vary in musical style from classical to jazz, and music from different parts of the world, from India to the Middle East, that'd be like Persia, and Japan, and China. The goal is to also educate us to how music functions, not so much as a musical universal language, because there are differences in the way that these languages of music are expressed, but to educate us to be able to be more appreciative, not only of the music, but the culture it represents. And by doing this, it brings community together.
Okay, well, and then my next questions are for Kennedy. You wear so many hats on this project: composer, lyricist, producer. How do you manage all of those roles while staying grounded in the creative process?
Oh, great question. I think it is something that I'm learning day by day. I think uh, I feel passionate about being a producer because the, the writer producer dichotomy, a lot of us nowadays, we're producing artists, you know? And I think that's something that shouldn't be looked down upon. It's not like, oh, well, this is less than. It's that we believe in our art more than anybody else ever could. You know, we're
Mhm.
the ones that started it, we're the ones that will continue to keep it going. And the cool thing about, I guess, art or writers in general is like, without them, there is no art. Um,
Mhm.
and it's without the producer that that art gets showcased to the world. And so we need both. And but in today's day and age, a lot of the time, those two things are in the same person. And so balancing that is tricky. I think I try to compartmentalize in some situations, like I try to leave my producer brain out of the room when it comes to writing a new musical. I try, but at the same time, I like at this point down the road, I know like if this maybe this show is just for me, or maybe this song is just for me, and that's okay. But if I want it to be commercial in any way, then sometimes my producer hat kind of sneaks in, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's okay that we only have two no CM characters, or whatever. But I don't want producer brain to limit art
Mhm.
brain. I think I'm trying in my personal life to remind myself sometimes that you can just write for fun and let it be the hobby that has now become like my profession. And there's a balance of that. And so, like, sometimes that is like, why don't I just go see a Broadway show and just enjoy it? You know, I don't have to sit and analyze it dramaturgically. I don't
Mhm.
have to like wonder, oh, I wonder how much that was and how do they get this and just go, no, this is art and this is beauty. And that's the tricky part about wearing all the hats, and also when your love and your hobby and your passion becomes also your profession. And I think just in any realm, in any world. It's the balance of that. But I do try to keep the producer brain outside of the writing room. But then once we've written it, I then generally in my collaborative teams, I become then the producer and I like solely flip hard into like, how can we sell this thing? How can we get it into the
Mm.
room? What can we do to make this happen? Because I guess any advice to up and coming writers, more than likely, you're going to be the one that's making it
Mm.
happen, not somebody else. So don't wait. Like, why not? Like, get rid of imposter syndrome and just keep knocking on doors until someone opens them. But having that confidence to be like, okay, I'm now no longer a writer. I am the producer of this show. And that is more than okay,
Mm.
if that answers your question.
Yo, no, that perfectly answers my question. So then the music in Beyond Perfection sounds really dynamic, ensemble ensemble driven, layered, and even a cappella moments. What inspired the musical style and sound of the show?
Great question. Um, so originally, so I'm assuming you heard some of the original recording songs
Mm.
from
Yeah.
a previous version. So that's like the 2019 version.
Mm.
And so when I was like, okay, I got to get this musical done, and it's not going to take me 8 years like, or 10 years like Lin-Manuel Miranda, I was like, who can I collaborate with? And so I walked into, I guess this is also another note to making it happen. I thought, okay, how do I do it? I'm going to do it. So I walked in to my composition uh, class or the next semester of the composition class. I asked my composition teacher, I said, I know all of these people have to write songs for your class. Can I give them the songs that they will write? And he said, sure. And so each individual person I worked with, and at that time it was a completely different plot, but I knew
Mm.
the plot and they, just got a little bits and pieces. And I said, here are the lyrics. And they did, and they wrote it as like a part of their composition class. So because of that, the origin of some of the songs that have continued on have been really rich musically, which have been very interesting. Like the song Shirley was an original song that I wrote when we needed to write in a mode, and I chose a specific mode, Lydian, and that became Shirley. Puzzle Piece then was informed by that idea of writing in a mode. And I thought, what would happen if we had this motif?
Mm.
And I was playing around on the piano, and my composition teacher was like, "Oh, I wonder how we can differentiate this." I don't know exactly where the idea came from, but we decided, like, okay, what if every time we do this motif, we lose a beat? And so it feels like a missing puzzle piece. And so, anyway, in this composition class, I was like given the tools in the toolbox that I never knew existed.
Mm.
Because, like I said, I was a songwriter, I wrote some pop songs, and but I always wanted to write musical theater. I grew up loving it. And I wrote a song when I went to New York, and it was called New York Bound. And it was our assignment to write a song with mixed modes, and that song has mixed modes. And I wrote it, and my composition teacher said, that sounds like it could be from a musical. And I thought, me? I could write a musical? Oh my goodness, all I have to do is mix modes? Okay, let's go. So that's kind of how it started. New York Bound is now No Seams. It's still in the piece, it's just completely different. But that's kind of how it started. And then because I was in college and I have a rich vocal background. I do not play the piano very well. I'm way more vocal heavy. And so at DBU I was in a choir. We actually got to go to Italy and sing in the Sistine Chapel, and my choir was so awesome. So
Didn't
I
know
love choral
that.
music. I have a huge passion for choral music, and so I had always wanted to write an a cappella song. So that's where Strangers came from. But unfortunately, that's no longer in the show. But all of this collaboration and the choral nature has led me to make a lot of ensemble-driven pieces. My collaborator Emily Horton, who's not on this podcast interview, but is phenomenal composer. She was a piano performance major as well as a composition major. And her dream was to film score, which I believe she will realize that dream. And so like it's really cool how that influence and like that background also influences the music as well. There's a lot of underscoring in our show as the songs kind of drive the scenes forward. And so her film scoring background combined with my musical theater love and Kaylee's comedy is kind of how the music kind of got hobbled together at this point. But that original one was like this beautiful love of our friends in college and seeing how we could just play with music and use our toolbox of modes and mixed modes and different chords and all of that to just make music. And I love how it's evolved from there.
And also like I know you've been also working on your worship EP in the dark,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which touches on your personal experience with anxiety. Did that emotional journey inform any of the deeper layers in Beyond Perfection?
Oh man, that's a deep cut. Yes, so I have actually written and recorded all of the songs for the EP. I've just not released it yet because I haven't found the right time to release it. Um, but yes, I struggle and with anxiety. I didn't really know what that meant growing up. I had great parents that kind of helped me overcome those things. And then when I went to college, I was like, what are these things? And I had this whole journey of figuring out how to live with anxiety.
Mhm.
And this beautiful thing, I'm a worship leader as well. And so how that relates to my relationship with God and my faith journey and how those things can help each other. So the first three songs in the EP are straight about anxiety. I think I played one for my dad and he was like, this just stresses me out. And it's
Mhm.
kind of like it's like this is the day in the life of me, my anxiety.
Mhm.
And then the latter is like pointing to like how I deal with that through my faith in God and the peace that comes from that. But as far as beyond perfection, I mean, I think you can't help but put your own journey into shows. Um, like your worldview, how you see the world, who you are, comes through in the art, no matter if you're trying to or not. There's a beauty in like writing a song, like in the dark, or um, one of the songs on that album that's like super deeply personal. But there's also a release of that, like it's not about me, beyond perfection at all. You know, like I don't
Mhm.
have to like bare my soul on the
Right.
show, but then there's elements of my heart in it.
Mhm.
I think originally, Chandler, the main character, was very similar to me. Um, she had some past related issues that I hadn't dealt with, but it was kind of an extreme anxiety. That now Ryan has that anxiety that's in this draft. But Kaylee and I have kind of taken turns with who
Mhm.
Chandler is. Like she was me, and then like now I see Kaylee, and it's kind of now morphed into Chandler's kind of both of us. Um, Interesting enough of little as Kate, she always has had this journey of wanting to be a wife and mom and letting it like kind of crack in this. It's always been that way.
Mhm.
But in the last 2 years of the show, I dealt with a whole year of infertility. And I mean, I guess a year of infertility and then IVF and all of that and how that affected me becoming a mother. And I feel it's interesting because I see that differently now. Like the original plot of Kate and who she wanted to be. Now I feel like I'm more like Kate than I am like Chandler.
Mhm.
because of that ideal thing that she wanted and having it stripped away. And so I'm really interested to see how that evolves now, kind of being who I am now and have who I am after that experience. I know that's not exactly what your question was, but
Mhm.
um, it's a beautiful process making art and how sometimes it's cathartic for your own soul, but
Mhm.
also how like it's as much a part of who you are as it is now like out in the world apart from you.
Mhm.
And I'm excited for other people to experience what we've had gotten the joy to like lovingly experience for the last 8 years.
Mhm. No, that was a perfect answer. That was such a perfect answer. Uh, um, so then I also wanted to ask, you've also been a vocal advocate for gender equality in musical theater. Can you share can you share a bit about how that shows up in your work or in how you approach building a team?
Yes, thank you. I always want to talk about this. So like I kind of previously mentioned, as an actor, a lot of the times, especially where we're from, where we live in Texas, and in non like professional productions outside of that, there's probably about 50 girls who could sing, act, dance the part, going for like two roles. And then there's about like maybe 10 guys going for like 10 roles.
Mhm.
And so like the that's just always been a thing. And so it started, I have another show called The Scarlet Letter Musical, which is an adaptation of Nathaniel Hawthorne's show or novel. And my collaborator Christine kind of brought that up because she was experiencing the same thing in the DFW theater community. And she was like, I don't want that to be the case in our show. And this novel that was written back in the day, really
Mhm.
old, actually is proto-feminist. Like there's glimmers of this feminist thread in Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel, which is
Mhm.
fascinating. So we have spent years now, like kind of like pulling that thread and elevating some of the other characters that aren't elevated in the story. For example, the Scarlet Letter was narrated by this random guy that we never meet. But our musical is narrated by grown Pearl. So we're like,
Mhm.
okay, that's another female actor. And then Mistress Hibbins, which is like the witch from the forest, we really elevated her role as well. And then we have a bunch of townswomen that like start out as gossips and we like follow their story as they're being redeemed. And so we've really focused a lot on rather than like we've humanized Dimsdale, I think sometimes adaptions kind of just dog on him, but we've humanized the male characters. It's a love triangle. However, while so elevating these female characters and coloring the story that way. So that was kind of my beginning of my journey into this
Mhm.
endeavor. And then I got involved with Maestra. Maestra is an organization that promotes female or femme creators on the music side of musical theater.
Mhm.
So band, instruments, um, music directors, you name it. I'm the moderator for Texas, but they have been so helpful and it's amazing. They have this
Mhm.
directory. And I've hired, I think majority of the band that we hired for Beyond Perfection came from Maestra. But for the Scarlet Letter, we did a concert and we made sure that our whole band was female. And then for this production of Beyond Perfection, I've made sure that our whole band is female. And through Maestra and connections through there, our music director is a female, our director is a female, our choreographer is a female. I've intentionally made sure that whenever possible, to try to find women to kind of fix and flip the script. I was amazed. It was right around the Tonys. There was a content creator putting out statistics about the men and women in Broadway fields. And I was like still amazed. I was like, really? We're still that low? Like I thought we had corrected it a little bit. And So I'm happy to report that a majority of even our production team is also female, and I'm just very ecstatic that as my producer hat, that I can be, even if it's a small part, a
Mhm.
part of restoring that percentage, so that we can fix that. And I know I put something on Instagram about that article about how there's so many female playwrights, and yet they're not getting hired. And that's not the issue. We need to keep this effort up. There's also other organizations as well that have been very supportive of this female creative team as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, and I wanted to touch on that too. It's like, yeah, they're not getting, but like, it's like, yeah, they're not getting, they're not getting hired, but it's a bigger problem issue than that, you know? It's like, there's a reason why they're not getting hired, and it goes deeper than oh, they're just not getting hired.
Yes. Well, and our music director for Beyond Perfection sat down across from the director at auditions,
Mhm.
and she said, I've actually never worked with a female director ever. This is my first time. And as a producer, I was like giddy. I was like, yes, I like this is so exciting. Well, kind of sad that that's your first time, but also
Yeah.
exciting that like I have the power at this moment to try to flip the script,
Mhm.
and to find those women, and Maestro's doing great work at
Mhm.
allowing to find people. So if you are a producer, if you are hiring and you're looking for a music director or a guitar player, or an arranger, you can go to Maestra and type their name in, or type in what you need and find
Mhm.
thousands. Like there's a lot of people on there
Mhm.
to fill your role. There's also the Rise directory, which is opens up to all of the different, just not the music side, but all of the
Mhm.
different production crew. And it's not just women, but underrepresented people groups across the board. And it
Mhm.
represents that. So, like when we were looking for a stage manager, we didn't end up finding one from Rise, but I went to Rise and I said, okay, find me some stage managers. And so they're very helpful. And if you want to flip that script, that's a great way to find people from those groups.
Mhm. All right, and then some closing questions for the both of you. Um, so this is for both of you. What are the most what are you most excited for audiences to experience when they see Beyond Perfection this summer?
Ooh. Um, that's so exciting. Uh, I'm gonna be there. I think we'll both be there every night.
Mhm.
I love like kind of zooming out and like hearing the audience's energy, like the breaths, or the or the oh, all those kind of under the breath, like um, uncontrolled responses. And I think there will be, we're trying to be as giving about the show as we can, to get the word out, but we also don't want to spoil it because I really do think there's an excitement about experiencing an original story.
Mhm.
And I'm just really excited for like the last 20 minutes, um, for people to just see the story end. Like the ending is really special. And that's all I am gonna say on that. But even, there's a flipping of classic character archetypes. So we have the hero. His journey does not end as a typical hero's journey. We have the ingenue, the lover of the hero. Her journey is not a normal musical theater ingenue journey. They begin that way and they're modeled that way, but none of them. There's the writer insert character, Chandler, is
Mhm.
kind of the writer voice in the show, and her journey ends very differently than you would think like that character would. The villain's journey, the kind of sidekick's journey, it all flips. So, um, that I'm really excited about. I think people who love theater will be surprised and delighted, um, by the things that we have going on in the story and in the direction. Our director she really gets it, and she's really crafting an awesome experience. And our choreographer and our music director, it's just going to be awesome. So, yeah.
Yes, I guess I'm the creative team that we hired is just amazing. Like, oh my goodness. Every time I walk into the room, I'm just giddy because, or I guess virtually walk into the room. I'm just giddy because, oh my goodness. Our director, Drea Slagle, yes, like Kaylee said, gets it, but has this vision that she's communicated to this design team. The set is going to be like legit. It's got like LED lights in the background. It's not a black box production. It's like all out. She was saying that we're on a line between cyberpunk and steampunk, and that we're like sliding the scale between the park steampunk and the Perfectionella SeaWorld cyberpunk, and we should never leave that line. And I heard that and I'm like, I'm in. So, as much as we've been living with this story for a long time, we haven't gotten to like see it like this, especially at this level. Our choreographer, I'm a dance nerd. I love dance, and she came on and her choreography is going to be so amazing. Victoria Casello, like I said, the breaking up with Broadway dance break, I think is what I'm most looking forward to, as a dance nerd, because I've seen pre-pro of it. I just cannot wait.
Not gonna lie to you, I'm also very excited for that. As a Broadway lover, I'm so excited for just that number.
I counted. It has 43 references in it.
Thank the Lord.
It's got 25 in the dance number alone. And then the other, 18 or whatever, I'm bad at math, are in like the dialogue and the lyrics. So it's like bam, 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 bam. So it'll be maybe we should like have bingo cards that people can raise when they hear a reference or something. Like make it like a popcorn throwing.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, now
Put
you've
on
said
our
it. Now you've said it on this podcast. Now you have to do it.
Oh no. We're not going to throw popcorn at the equity actors. No one come. We're not doing that. Don't. I'm not. But maybe you can raise your hand, or you can just go, I see you. Give me a thumbs up every time you hear a reference or something. We'll figure out a non-verbal communication.
Non-violent, non like popcorn
Yeah.
throwing kind of violent way.
Yeah, this production is very safe and normal, okay? No, don't do anything freaky. Just enjoy it. Okay, thank you. I've I've
Oh
overstayed.
my God. I'm
I've,
like
I've
laughing so
overstayed.
hard, I'm
Please
crying.
edit that out. Edit.
Oh my God. I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying.
Oh no. I've really it's okay. I'm just gonna drink my water.
So my next question is, are there any other projects you're working on now together or individually that we can look forward to?
Kenady, take it. Take it away.
All right. Well, as aforementioned, the Scarlet Letter musical, we had our New York debut at Greenwood 42 last summer. And so we're looking forward to further development with that. It's a folk musical and a tragedy. So it is the complete opposite of Beyond Perfection. Um, I also am working on a new project about the becoming a mother. We're collecting stories from people in the motherhood journey, wherever that is, whether that's an aunt mothering or if that's someone trying to conceive. And we're collecting those with Megan, who produces Mom's Night Out, which was just at the Green Room 42 this past weekend. I'm also working on The Bad Girls of the Bible with Nicolette Blount. Her other show is Savage the Musical.
Mhm.
She is a native, and she is a producer as well and owns this website called Native Theater Artists. So she's big on promoting natives in the theater space. If that's not enough, we did have that 10-minute we talked about the birthmark.
The birthmark. And we are, I don't know if Kenady knows this. We are working on a EP with that.
Oh,
So
yes. So
I roped my husband is a audio engineer producer, and he helped us kind of arrange the sounds to be really sci-fi and techie, and I've roped him into turning that into an EP because we have all the, sound stuff, the backing tracks. So either EP or an audio theater episode or something. So that my goal is end of year, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Right.
It nearly killed him when we did it. So it was really really
We're
complex.
going to write another show together. The Beyond Perfection keeps interrupting that, whatever that is. But we've decided it's going to just be hilarious, and we're going to write it, and it's going to be really funny and hilarious. That's it. That's the concept. Just funny.
Just funny. And it might involve the vibe of a 2000s mall. It might take place in a mall pre
Y2K mall.
Y2K mall. And so we're calling it Y2K Mall or something, the musical. But that's a really bad title. So we got to get through this first though. And then I have a project I'm almost done with it, the play version, and then it will probably end up a play with music. Well, I have two. I have an adaptation of Bambi that is a lyrical, and that one's gotten a semi-finalist nod at DFW, so that's kind of fun. But it is a lyrical um prose play with kind of folk music, Bambi, the story of Bambi, but it's really about a community racked by gun violence. So, even though it's adorable woodland animals, does that make it worse? Maybe. But they're plagued by these hunters, and there's a lot to say there. But it's also really fun, and it's cute little animals and dancing, and that's that. And then I have a show about a home for unwed mothers in Great Depression, Texas. That is a historical play based on a real place right down the street from where I went to college. I've done a lot of historical research, and I'm not a historian, but I have found primary documents about this place and these people that have ascended some scholarship. I've really gone deep, and so I've had to rewrite it to make it, I really want it to be as historically accurate as I can. And then I might add some music. I think some jazz music would be cool. So got to find some jazz composers and get that. But right now it's a play and I really like it. So, and lots of women in it.
As soon as you mentioned the Bambi music, my first thought was like, oh no, now we gotta relive the trauma of the whole Bambi's mother getting shot all over
Well, here's
again.
the thing. In the book, she just disappears. We think it's like implied. So they really did us dirty in that Disney movie. So I'm keeping that. However, lots of other adorable fluffy animals die in the book. So I'm adapting the novel. So there's a lot of other a lot more there, unfortunately, than the Disney movie. But the Disney movie really hit you in the mommy, so
Yeah.
yeah. I'm so sorry.
Not
I
to hit
think
you in the mommy.
I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I'm tired, guys. I'm saying things. Edit that out too.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh. So and then my final question for you both. And for anyone listening who's dreaming of writing their own musical, what advice would you give about collaboration or bringing up your vision to life from the ground up?
I think you should this is a personal experience. If you are a young writer, be careful about who you let read your work and like speak into your work. Like you want to let people who are gonna get it read it in its early stages. Don't, if you're writing a sci-fi dystopian novel, don't hand it to someone who's never touched a smartphone and is like really old and crusty, like and mean, you know, because it's gonna break your soul. Hand it to someone who has read a dystopian novel before. Like hand it to someone who gets what you're trying to go for first. And
Mhm.
then you can work on, wooing people who, are not a pleased audience with that genre
Mhm.
or whatever. You want to find friends of your work
Mhm.
first in the baby precious stage, and then you can start bringing in the public. But protect your work a little bit in the beginning. Don't let anyone stamp out your flame.
Mhm.
That's great. Yeah, no, I think I heard advice from a producer actually. He had said, if this person is not a member of your audience, then that's feedback that you don't necessarily need because they're not going to be in your audience to see the show. And I think that's what you're getting at, Kaylee, is like we almost decided that this wasn't a show. Like we almost killed it, for lack of a better terms, like right before we got
Mhm.
this opportunity. And so you never know like who's gonna love it. You never know. So like just keep knocking. And of course, you're the one that's your number one biggest fan. And so you're the one that's gonna have to make it happen,
Mhm.
whatever that means. um, you know, just do it. And because I think a lot of times people are like, oh wow, like this happened. That's so cool. Like, how did you do that? And just like, I just did. Like I didn't. And again, like sometimes you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission or wait for you to feel like it's the right time. Because I never feel as important as like whatever I'm doing. We all have imposter syndrome. And so you just sometimes you're like, okay, even though I don't feel like it, or I know that this person may just like laugh me out of the room, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Really,
Mhm.
nothing. So I might as well knock on the door, and I might as well
Mhm.
try, and I might as well make it happen. And I think that's really how this show has gotten to this point. It was,
Mhm.
I want to write a show. How do I do that? I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do this. I'm going to submit. Even though I wanted the show, I was like, I don't know. Maybe no one likes the show. Maybe it's just we say yay and we put it to bed. But I submitted to this festival and they said yes. So you never know. Keep submitting, keep trying, keep knocking, keep asking. Um, and yes, if the person giving you feedback who tells you that your play is horrible, is not a member of your audience, then like they're
Mhm.
not gonna come see the show anyway and move to the next person. So it's hard. Art is so subjective. It's
Mm-hmm.
so subjective. And so your biggest fan could be right next to your biggest foe that thinks your show is terrible. So you just have to like kind of hold that, take every comment with a grain of salt and then come back to like why you're doing what you're doing and why you want it to succeed and keep moving
Mhm.
forward.
Yeah.
All right. So, um, for all my audience, where can we find you guys to follow
Oh,
you guys?
take that, Kaylee.
I'll take it. So we have our Beyond Perfection website is kennedyseanproductions.com/Beyond Perfection. And we also are on socials. We're on TikTok, Beyond Perfection Musical, all one, phrase. Instagram, Beyond Perfection _musical. I know. I know. And then personal, Kennedy has her Kennedy Sean Productions has an Instagram. I'm Dr. Hashtag on TikTok. I'm giving you the secret because you wouldn't be able to find me otherwise. Okay, so Dr. Hashtag. And I'm also on Instagram, Kaylee Killingsworth. All right.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you
You
for
were
having
amazing.
us.
And with that being said, we are off, and I will see you guys in the next one, and I will see you, Eternal Stars, later. Bye, guys.
Yay. Thank you.